Thanks so much for having me. I've been a very small part of the Replication Handbook, but I guess as Luke reminded me, it always feels like that in these collaborative projects. So yeah, very exciting one to be a part of. Um, so yeah, I'll just talk about a little bit about my history with replication because I think it's relevant. So during my PhD, I ran my first replication study. It was the first study of my PhD. And there were so many things that I did wrong because it was my first one, and there were very few resources out there on how to conduct replications. So just as a couple of examples, one is that I used the exact same sample size as the original study in my replication because I thought that felt more replication-y because it was exactly the same. So you can see the logic there, but we obviously know now that there's other better ways of deciding your sample size for a replication study to make it more informative, but at the time I didn't know. Similarly, I was really kind of going back and forth on how many things to keep exactly the same as the original versus how many things to change. And I settled on kind of something weirdly in the middle, but didn't really know why or what the implications of that were. And so over time, I learned a lot more about replication and it became one of my special interests. And I knew how many of those things were wrong. But had there been just kind of a resource for me to go to, which could have told me how to do it, then I know that that replication would have been of a much higher standard. And I'm sure there's others who can relate. Who either have kind of made mistakes that they wish they hadn't in their replications, or they maybe didn't make those mistakes, but it took them a lot of work to go and find the resources that they needed to make those decisions properly. By the way, I can't see the chat, so if it's anything for me, then please let me know. Yes, or maybe neither of these, but maybe they haven't even tried to conduct a replication because they're too overwhelmed in kind of the decisions that they would need to make. And so I really hope that this tool, this handbook will be useful for all of those types of people. Okay. So what is the handbook? So the handbook is an open access book. It's available in two places. So one is on the FORRT website, which you can see the link at the top there when you have access to the slides. And it's also on Zenodo. And so it was created, as Luke said, by bringing together a group of experts in replication and all kind of contributing to the shared document. And yeah, I think it's been really cool to be able to put, so I often teach about replication and I often do these workshops on like how to run a replication study. And it was really cool to be able to, with many others, be able to put those kind of the things that I teach about into the handbook and know that they would reach a much wider, or could at least reach a much wider audience than people who are present in the specific workshops. And I'm sure that's the same for many of the other authors. And it's also a bi-directional thing because I know that much of what I read in the handbook that my co-authors had written, I now integrate into my teaching on replication. So even without anyone else seeing it, it's been a useful experience. And I'm sure that's only compounded by the amount of people who will be able to use it. And so as well as the group of authors themselves, it's also been reviewed by MetaROR. So just for anyone who doesn't know what MetaROR is, it's one of these like open peer review platforms. And we got some really interesting and useful reviews through that, which we can now integrate into edits for the handbook. So that's really exciting as well. So what's actually in the handbook? What can you use it for? So we have these kind of standard chapters that are basically a manual on how to conduct a replication that take you through understanding different types of replication, to choosing your target study, planning your replication, executing the study, and discussing the results. And then we also have this section on communicating and publishing your replications. And then we have, at the moment, just one field-specific section on MRI research. But you can also see these sections with the little dotted lines around them, and that's kind of the coming soon sections. So two that I'm really excited about are on teaching replications and organizing a multi-lab replication. So I'm really excited to see and potentially contribute to those. And then also the other field-specific sections on geoinformatics and computational literary studies. So it's just kind of a accumulation of the expertise and the people who are willing to contribute knowledge on these different topics. So by no means absolutely comprehensive, but it can be made more comprehensive through suggested edits and changes that you can contribute by there's two ways. You can either email Luke, or you can submit requested edits through GitHub as well. So that's how you can kind of make changes. I'll show you what it actually looks like in a second, but just first wanted to chat about a couple of things that I really love about it. So one is, I think it does a really good job of balancing these kind of multiple perspectives on replication and the more like theoretical and philosophical things that that can't really be taken away from the more practical, because I think it's the relationship between the practical decisions that you make about how to conduct your replication, linking to the kind of what your assumptions then are, or what your questions then are, that is so those things. And I also think it's really user-friendly. So we have like key takeaways, good visualizations that are pulled from other places and new ones, and also a checklist at the end that you can just go through if you're conducting your own replication. So let me see if so I think I shared the whole screen, so you should still be able to see this. So so this is what it looks like on the FORRT website. You can either just scroll or you can go to specific sections. So here you can see like a key takeaway box that we have, and then the checklist at the end I really like, so I'll show that to you. So a checklist, really simple way to just go through at the end if it's a lot of information to take in. We've also got even email templates for reaching out to original authors, but there's a lot of room for additional things that could be added to this. So like I said, please do get in touch if you have any suggestions. And this is what it looks like on Zenodo. You can download it also just as a PDF to have offline if you like that. Yes, and then here is the MetaROR reviews that we got, if you would like to take a look at those as well, or if you're just curious about MetaROR. So I think in general, it's been a really exciting project to be a part of. And thanks for listening.